Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. This is going to be a shorter video, and I'll be making less content for probably about a week. We'll see how it all plays out. I got a big farm job. I was supposed to do it last week, and it ended up, getting COVID. But I'm renting a tractor, which I've never used before. And by tractor, I mean bulldozer. We have a tractor, but I'm renting a bulldozer, which is my first time using one. And I got to do a bunch of, it's expensive to rent. And so I got to accomplish a bunch of things with that. So, I don't know how much content I'm going to make. I say this all the time. I'm just letting people know if I'm not posting, it's for that reason. Yesterday, I posted a video on my Apocalypse Now channel. I should say I uploaded it. And it was uploaded and unlisted, and I got a community guideline strike. And it's because there was an article that I posted which claimed there's more people who were vaccinated died of COVID than people who were unvaccinated. But it was just 1 month, so the headline was misleading. And so YouTube's algorithms had flagged anybody showing an image of that article. But I, which I always do, I said, oh, that's misleading because, I don't need to create false, disinfo to make my points, right? My reality is backed by reality. Like, I don't have to, do misleading things to, to validate my position. But anyways, they reversed it. But so that was a whole big thing I went through yesterday. But this is the Hollywood celebrities dropping like flies. Where's our apology? And it should be OUR. Almost every time I go back and read the headline, one of my titles, I'm like, wow, I didn't really do a good job on that. But anyways, on both my channels, I'll be making less content for probably about a week. I don't know, maybe I won't. We'll see how it all plays out. But to start with, let's go to Kanye. So I read this tweet. I'll show you the tweet in a moment. That somebody sent me. It was from Tucker Carlson, covered it. And I went back and looked at Ye's Twitter because one of my viewers said that Ye was going off on Twitter. There's a big Donald Trump controversy, and Ye is just hilarious. I mean, it's just, like I said, that he is also a comedian. You can find like really quality jokes in his rap lyrics and other things. But this was a post before he got banned on Twitter. This is pre-Elon Musk days, and he was going off on various people. And he said this: I was told that if I exposed the truth of the bad business practices, everything is going to be taken from me, including my black children. And everyone who has borne witness to the public tilling of Ye, but God has put something on my heart not to back down. So this was at the time when Ye was, back with whatever, Kim Kardashian, and he had that rant. He went to a concert and he just ranted, what they call a rant, and I call hilarious. And then after that, he was put in like a reprogramming center. And I covered this years and years ago. Like he said, Jay-Z, don't send killers at my head and things like this. But he had to go to like some treatment center, which is a, Hollywood reprogramming center. And he came out blonde, and I've talked about that in the past where they either shave a woman's head or shave somebody's head. Usually it'd be a woman's head, or they come out like men come out blonde. They go into like rehab and they come out blonde like a newborn baby. It's a, some sort of a symbolic thing. But then he posts this about, this is Harley Pasternak, Canadian personal trainer. Harley Samuel Pasternak is a Canadian-American personal trainer, motivational speaker, author, television host, and spitter. Does that mean a rapper? Pasternak is known for his books, The Body Reset, and these things like here, right? And so this guy's from Toronto, Canada. And Ye posted this here. This shows you hardly admitting to knowing the truth of our origins and later dismissing the facts within some text chain. Mind you, this is a Hollywood trainer. This is how a Hollywood trainer speaks to a more influential black celebrity when we get out of line. So I guess they were arguing about whether blacks were the original Jews. Your origins might be Jewish, this guy says. It's about how you act, how you think, and how you treat others. I will do anything if you could please apologize to my people. I'm going to help you one of the couple ways. First, you and I sit down and have a loving and open conversation. It's blocked out here. Anything that is discussed is based in fact, and it's some crazy stuff that that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. The second option, I have you institutionalize again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to zombie land forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. And even with all of that said, I still have lots of love in my heart for you, and my doors are always open. Okay, so this guy said that he would have him institutionalized. So this guy said he would have him institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you. So, this is a very severe threat. This guy, who's a personal trainer, how does he institutionalize somebody, right? And so putting somebody on a psychiatric hold, and I've talked about this before, and they're going to go this way for truthers. They're going to say you're crazy conspiracy theorists and you're in danger of going off and hurting people. Those are the profiles they're trying to create for all of us who don't believe in the official story. And so if you don't go along with the official story, this is 1984 stuff, they can suspend your judicial rights, your Miranda rights, and just put you on a psychiatric hold. And they can do that for whatever, 48 hours, a month. I mean, they've done this before. There's a guy who was an ex-Army guy, a vet, a guy who was a veteran of the Iraq War. And he started posting things on, I think, Twitter or social media, Facebook, about the big event 2001 being an inside job. And you can go back and look at this. I covered this years and years ago. This is back in 2014, 15, I don't know, even before that. I'm not sure, but I covered this thing. And he was institutionalized because they said he was a threat, but he wasn't threatening anything. He just was posting things that were different than the official story. And so for somebody this guy here, to say he has the power to institutionalize somebody, it means putting them on a psychiatric hold. And then this, again, where they medicate the crap out of you, that means that you'll be so incoherent you'll never get out of treatment because your mind gets scrambled by their crappy pharmaceutical psychological medications that everybody knows cause suicidal ideation and often hallucinations and God knows what other side effects. Each one of them, I worked as a counselor. I know what these medications do. I've seen its effect in these treatment centers on kids. And he says, and you go back to zombie land forever. They would put these kids on medication in these treatment centers I worked at, and they would just not come back to to being conscious, right? They were like gone. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. And so that means that when your kids come over, you're drooling on yourself, right? You're just sitting there staring like a zombie, and because of these psychological medications. And why? Because he was saying things that were against, in this case, it sounds like he says here, I will do anything if you please apologize to my people. And so was that him saying his people have the power? Is this validating what Kanye's saying, right? Him threatening to do this. He's not a psychiatrist. Psychiatrists aren't great. They suck, but they have to answer to a board, right? They go up for licensure, and there's some oversight, not really the kind of oversight there should be. Money of these And these psychiatrists would just show up at treatment centers, and we had a psychiatrist on staff. My outpatient clinics and also at treatment centers. They'd work like one day a week. They rent out their services of writing scripts, and they come in and they write prescriptions for all the kids. The kids with ADHD would get Ritalin or something like this, and then the kids some kids would get antipsychotics, which are that can cause hallucinations. I mean, you can go look up all the side effects, right? But a psychiatrist, and I don't like psychiatrists. I don't like the whole model, right? I never met one that wasn't creepy, and I worked with 3 or 4 of them. And there's also doctors of psychology who can write scripts, right? And then there's nurse practitioners who can write. There's these various people, like people with an MSW can't write prescriptions for psychological medications and other medications. Someone like me, a counselor, I couldn't write prescriptions, but psychiatrists were the main ones, right? Psychiatrists, they're trying to help people. I mean, that's the official story. They're trying to help people by having them, through medication. It's the big pharma model of psychological interventions through medications. It doesn't work because the medications, you can't. It's not a medication issue. It's a spiritual issue. It's a systemic issue, right? But this guy isn't any of those things. How does this guy threaten to get the guy institutionalized? Second option, I have you institutionalized again. And so, what was it they did the first time, and why would you threaten that, right? And then they're going to put you on medications that they make you take. If you don't take the medications, you're seen as not cooperating, and they won't allow you to get out. So one of the ways you get out of treatment is take their medications, which are, turn you into a zombie land. This guy admits that you get turned into a zombie by these medications. A non-psychological professional saying, like, where does he have the authority to get Kanye institutionalized? Here he says, I'll do anything if you could please apologize to my people. And Kanye says, it's my people too. And the guy says, okay, I love that. And Kanye hearted that. But, this is an effed up exchange. And so this is a much more telling, everyone was sending me this thing where Kanye said that his mom was an Illuminati sacrifice. And they were claiming wrongly that Kanye was admitting that he had his mom sacrificed, which he wasn't. And he was just saying that that's what it looked like. You could hear it by what he's saying. And that's not such a big reveal. It's something, it's not nothing. I mean, I covered it. But this guy's saying he could get Kanye institutionalized and put on one of these psychiatric holds and get him medicated so much that he goes to zombie land that he won't even be able to recognize his own kids. That's a big statement. It had to do with this whole thing with Kyrie, right? Where the power, right? The only 2 people who've lost anything of significance are Kyrie and Ye. Like this guy, what does this guy lose? What does this guy lose for, what does this guy lose for threatening to put Kanye in a psychiatric hold? What does he lose, right? What does he lose? Kanye's lost $2 billion. Kyrie's lost maybe $300 million. And they're both under attack constantly. I mean, Kyrie for a tweet where he shared something. This guy threatened, Kanye, if Kanye didn't apologize, to be institutionalized for what he said. I mean, think about that, right? That's I mean, shouldn't this guy get something? Like, what's this guy going to get? What is his consequences? I mean, spiritual consequences, sure, everyone gets them. There's no getting away with anything. God takes care of everything. Like, you're not in a punishing way that you punish yourself by, doing things outside of what you're supposed to be doing on planet Earth, right? But this guy, threatened Kanye in a way that was effed up. Like, this is a much worse thing than just words. So he started off over here. If you don't apologize to his people, he gave you a carrot option, and here's the other option. Okay, I'm in the editing process, and let me really dissect this thing. Let's, think about what this really means. So Ye said something about Jewish people. And whether you agree with it or not, whether you feel like it's anti-Semitic or not, whether was definitely something that was, um, that he said that was very provocative, right? It was going to provoke a response. Like he said, the first part of it was that he was going to go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people in the morning. He was too tired to do it tonight. And so we all know, and Ye has clarified, that he didn't mean anything physically violent or threatening. It was just words he was going to use about things like this that was said to him. But he said that, right? And so this guy contacted him. He's a personal trainer. I don't know what else he is to Ye. He seems like he must be some sort of a handler. And he says, if you don't apologize to my people, I mean, he says it in a very nice way at first. He says, I will do anything if you could please apologize to my people. That's non-threatening and doesn't seem very hostile. But as the conversation continues, he says, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you one of a couple ways. First, you and I can sit down and have a loving, open conversation. And if you don't do that, right, and this is all about his belief, what he's been saying about being the first Semitic people, all these things. And so when you want to get something from somebody, what he wants Ye to do is backtrack on what he said, to apologize, and, all the rest of it, right? Like all the stuff that Kyrie Irving had to do, kind of thing. To go and say you were completely wrong and, all of it. That's the behavior he's trying to get out of Kanye. And so what does he have? Like Adidas had their contract. They could leverage their contract in $2 billion. And, like Ye said, he went from being a billionaire to not being able to use his Apple Pay. They went in there with J.P. Morgan Chase and they, stopped his, his financial empire. And that didn't stop him. So what does this guy have? He's a personal trainer. I don't know, what are his leveraging tools that he can use to get Ye to behave in the way he wants him to behave, to get the behavior out of Ye that he wants? Well, he says the second option is I will have you institutionalized again. And so, first of all, like I said, he's not a psychiatrist. He doesn't, as far as I can tell, he doesn't have any ability to do that. On what grounds can he do that? In what fair system, what hospital, what judge, what, whoever's involved in this would allow a personal trainer to have you institutionalized? Now, the reason to have somebody institutionalized is they're a danger to someone else or themselves. That's the only reason. That they're psychologically unsafe. They can't be trusted to keep themselves safe and other people safe. That's the only real reason to do it. That they're dangerous. That's, somebody psychologically unfit to be amongst everybody else. Their freedom to live as an independent person has to be stripped away because of their psychological issues. They might, hurt anybody or themselves at any time. Somebody who is suicidal could be put on a psychiatric hold, right? They are unfit. They're unsafe. And someone who's engaging in self-harm. But once they regain themselves, they have to be let out, right? This is a power that you can't abuse. Well, he's not saying that Kanye is dangerous to himself or others. He's not doing anything that's in terms of self-harm or harming somebody else. And he's never been charged with violence. He's never been accused of beating his wives or, any of these things. Physically assaulting. I guess there's been some paparazzi or something, but, nothing like, that's led to any sort of criminal charges. And so he's not acting violently. And he's not threatening to hurt himself. So there's no reason to institutionalize him. And this guy isn't the kind of person, in terms of his profession, he's a personal trainer, that should have the ability to do that. But to extract this behavior, he's saying that he will, which is, imprisoning somebody, abusing them, and he's going to have this guy institutionalize him and then get somebody in the medical profession to zombify him with medications. Think about how effed up that is, right? I mean, that's what this guy is threatening. just because Ye said things that were critical of, his what he calls his people, right, the Jewish people, and so Ye used these words, but there weren't, a call to action. They weren't a call to some sort of, physical violence. Maybe they could, fan the fires of tensions between, people who hate Jewish people. Yeah, there's some negative consequences. And there's, I think there's a legitimate complaint from Jewish people and somebody like this, right? Somebody who's involved with Ye in one way or another. I see that they have a legitimate right to be concerned about what Ye is saying. But does he have the right to lock him up if he doesn't get what he wants? If Ye doesn't do what he wants, what the guy wants Ye to do, he gets to lock him up and drug him, in such a way that he's zombified. Like, think about what's being said here. Like, that's taking things to another level. And like I said before, this guy isn't getting any consequences. I mean, he sent this message on, on Instagram. Why isn't Facebook, which owns Instagram, banning this guy, right? And where does this guy get this power from? This is, levels of Hollywood corruption. This is what we've heard about Hollywood handlers. This is all that we said about reprogramming centers and, taking somebody who's acting out or not doing what they want them to do, sticking them in in some sort of treatment center and drugging them up, and then they come out and cooperate. They're completely cooperative, right? That's not, that's abusive. It's like a form of slavery. This isn't, you can't say that this is something good, this is appropriate. Some guy who's just a personal trainer thinks he has the power and saying he has the power to lock Ye up and zombify him with medications, bringing in the whole pharmaceutical department, right? The pharmaceutical industry. And what are those medications used for? To make people do what you want them to do? That these psychological pills are there to exact cooperation from people that, may be acting out or don't agree with the official story. They're not there to help people or to bring them to a higher level of consciousness. People who are considered disruptors or, who are rebels or going against the system, that these medications are there to, and the institutions are there to force them to cooperate in some way, right? Again, non-criminal behaviors. We're talking about just freedom of expression here. And so this is really effed up. Like, this is, this exchange is, it documents everything that we've been thinking about Hollywood handlers, right? Then there was this effing nightmare. Trump does damage control after he dines with Ye and white supremacist Nick Fuentes. The former president's campaign claims he didn't know anything about Fuentes, who joined the rapper under fire for his anti-Semitic remarks. Former President Donald J. Trump distanced himself Friday from pre-Thanksgiving dinner at his Mar-a-Lago club in Florida with Ye, formerly known as Kanye West, and white supremacist Nick Fuentes, claiming he didn't know the identity of the far-right activist, who was unexpectedly brought along with the rapper. This past week, Kanye called me to have dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Shortly thereafter, he unexpectedly showed up with 3 of his friends, whom I knew nothing about. Trump said Friday in a statement on Truth Social. We had dinner on Tuesday evening with many members present on the back patio. The dinner was quiet and uneventful. Then they left for the airport. So I don't know who this guy Nick Fuentes is. Apparently he's a Holocaust denier. And, that's this guy here. He has a Make America First thing. There's, all I'm getting is the mainstream news story about this guy, and I'm not sure what his relationship with Ye is. Trump hosts Kanye West with white nationalist Nick Fuentes for dinner. The Mar-a-Lago meeting has a visible boost for Fuentes, a previously fringe fascist who has said the Jews had better start being nice to people like us. I don't even know what that means in terms of people like us. But this is being covered by the left-leaning media. Donald Trump scolds Jews, praises evangelicals, and geopolitical swipe. And he said here, Some people in the United States, Jewish people, don't appreciate Israel the way they should. I'll tell you who does appreciate Israel very much are evangelicals, because evangelicals are on your side. The evangelical Christians, they're really on your side. So that's, I guess he was, when he received that award or something, whatever. Elon Musk says he will support Florida's DeSantis if he runs for president. So Trump's taking it on the chin here. Voters will walk barefoot over broken glass for me, boasts Ron DeSantis. That's very similar to the claim that Trump made about he could go out and shoot somebody in the face on Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't lose any supporters. Things are changing here. Valerie Bertinelli celebrates after finalizing divorce. Tom Vitale divorce. It's over. And I realized when I looked at this picture that Valerie Bertinelli has slowly turned into an Ewok, right? Let's get an Ewok here up here for comparison. Okay, so there's an Ewok, and there's Valerie Bertinelli, and we can see she's getting more and more Ewok every day. She's going full Ewok. But anyways, this is what she said on Instagram or whatever it was.
I'm at the airport, about to go see Wolfie. And my lawyer just called. The papers are all signed. They're about to be filed. On 11/22/22, I am officially divorced.
You're also an Ewok.
Happily divorced. God, finally. It's finally over. Yes!
That was definitely some sort of Ewok thing going on there at the end. There's growing shadow campaign to defend Joe Biden from House Republicans. The president hasn't said if he's running for office yet. But Democrats are already preparing efforts to defend him ahead of an unexpected rematch with Donald Trump. Look at this senile MNFer, right? Just clueless, just gone. They're embarrassed. I mean, they're so, how embarrassing. Trump is his own, embarrassment. But this guy, how can you back this guy and claim to be like sort of the party of the educated and the intellectual, right? The scientific people. And this senile MNFer, and you're backing him like he's okay when he clearly isn't.
You don't hear that much from everybody. I have the whole world, and I'm underneath a microscope all the time.
Because you're on social media, right, of your own volition, and you read people's comments. That's why you're under a microscope. Because you choose to be on social media, and you're reading what they're saying about you. Both your choices.
And you don't hear what good you do.
Exactly. Coco Austin broke down in tears talking about mom shamers putting her under a microscope. There's her husband, or whatever, the father of her child, Ice-T, the former rapper. And there's the kid. Now, you can look at celebrity kids, and oftentimes you couldn't guess who their parents are. You look at this kid, and you're like, oh, that's Ice-T's kid. All right, this dude has something more to say here.
The last 6 years of putting everything aside.
I mean, come on, bro.
My career, everything, just for her. And you just want a little love. You want a little respect from people.
All right, I got to wrap this thing up. It went on longer than I thought. I got more work to do. But anyways, I also got a Journey series thing coming up. Only spirituality will save this world. It's Paul Romano, definitely reporting from the Apocalypse and the Ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.